Hey, welcome back to the Always Forward podcast. This is going to be a really fun one, or really embarrassing one. I'm not really sure because I got the none other. Cut that audio, Miss Capra. None other than my mother, River Jordan. Mom, and you just got off a plane.
Son.
You literally, literally just got off a plane.
Off
and then
2 planes.
2 planes. Yes. And then I'm like, hey, and you threw right into a podcast.
I know.
Is that okay?
I'm okay.
This is how we do things here.
I didn't even ask what the questions were.
I don't even know what the questions are.
I thought I'd just roll with it.
Yeah, I don't have, my producer gave me no sheet.
You told me we were doing no sheet. You said,
no, we're not doing a sheet. We don't need a sheet. We don't need a sheet.
This is my mom. We're not doing a sheet. We're just going to wing it.
So, when I told you, I said, hey, the car will be there to pick, you said LOL. I was like, really, I was confused.
I don't even know that I was responding to you.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have no idea at this moment, but it probably struck me funny.
So there are times that you will text me, I will screenshot it and send it to Chris and be like,
I know.
Be like,
Chris is his brother.
Be like, do you understand what she's saying? He's like, no, man, I get
just
it.
Ignore it.
He's like, just ignore it. I get
Right.
the same stuff all the time.
He ignores me a lot. Yeah.
So, but I didn't know. I was like, maybe she thinks I'm joking about the car. I'm not really sure.
I'm sure. I was like, babe, she probably thinks you're kidding. You're coming to get her. And you're like, hey, your car waits. And she's thinking, that's funny. But then there was really a car that came to get her because you had to keep working.
No, I just thought you were, I was in Nick's world.
Yeah.
And we were rolling Nick's way. And my car was coming to pick me up. I'm just, okay, I'm here.
Yeah. It's better that way, right?
Can you just share the Nick's world story because it makes me so happy. I appreciate it so much. And anybody who knows Nick will love it.
Oh, God.
Well, anyone who knows Nick or follows Nick knows that you are a part of Nick's world. And growing up, that's the way he arranged things. And one time we sort of kidnapped him to go visit family and said, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to visit family. You're not in Nick's world anymore. And he said, that doesn't happen in Nick's world.
How old was I?
Oh, you were probably 14 at that time, maybe 15. You were well aware.
It makes me sound like such a narcissist.
Self-determined.
Yeah, right.
You let me know not to do your laundry anymore when you were 12 years old because you could do it better.
But was that a factual statement, or is that just like me being a little shit?
Oh no, totally factual. It's a wonder I didn't go do it all, babe. Do it all. Your room looked like a nightclub. It was always clean,
oh my God,
coordinated. Yeah, you've always been Nick in Nick's world.
Yeah. Well, it takes, whatever.
I feel like he's kind of sort of met his match, though, because now we're in Dimitri's world.
Oh, jeez. 100%.
I've noticed that. I've noticed that from the Instagram pictures.
Wait till you see that, get a load of this kid.
I just drink it all in. I drink all the videos.
And he's like, how old was he when last time you saw him? We came out there?
November, so.
Oh, my goodness.
Smaller. He's got all the words down now, and he's walking and doing his thing.
He tells you exactly how things are going and everything.
He was, I think, 15 months, and he's almost 2.
Yeah, 2 in August.
Yeah.
So he's something. He's running the roost. That's for sure.
And he tells Dad, no.
No. He does this. No. Okay.
And he just backs up.
And
anytime Nick tries to do anything, he just backs up.
He backs and he grabs his hands like this. He's like, no. Okay.
No, okay.
No, I just posted that video of him in the truck. So I got my bags into the truck, okay? And then...
he climbs his own butt into the truck now.
And then I was going to run him around and put him in his car seat. He just dived into the truck. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. I will go around and grab him and put him in his seat. As soon he saw me open the door, he looked over me and he just he looked like one of those little, a creature, like an alien, scampers off, And that's what it looked like. He just went and was in the front seat faster than I could even realize. I was like, and then he wouldn't get out. He was like, no, I'm driving. He's like, keys.
Go.
Yeah, keys, go. Anyways, it was funny. So anyways, Your requirements for the podcast was a Guinness.
It
So-
was.
So you're which is a nitro cold brew Guinness, which
With coffee.
with coffee, which you're the first person ever to drink on our podcast.
Well, that's appropriate. I mean, that's the way it should be.
So, Mom, what does it say that you say? What do they say that you do? What do you do for a living?
I'm a writer. That's what I do.
How long have you been a writer?
All of your life.
That's yeah.
All of my life, you know. I was discovered by my 6th grade teacher.
Really?
Yes. You didn't know the story?
I don't think so.
Forgot the story? She thought I'd plagiarized something. Totally copied it from a book. She called me up to her desk to question me. Gave me the 3rd degree. And then she
Were you like totally confused?
I was totally innocent. I wasn't confused, but I just kept answering.
I mean, you know what
Yes,
plagiary
I
is
do.
in
Yes.
6th grade? I wouldn't have known that.
Oh,
Well-
sure, because they do a whole thing when you start writing and creative writing and stuff. They're like,
You're not supposed
Yeah.
to be copying things, right?
Oh,
So-
I didn't pay attention in school.
She kept asking me questions like, well, how did you get this idea? Where did it come from? And, you know, and apparently I passed the test.
Okay.
So then she scheduled a private conference with Nana, just the teacher and Nana and myself. And she let Nana know that your daughter is a writer. She's born to be a writer. You have
I'm sure
you have
that
a
one's.
writer. And Nana was like, oh, well, thank you so much. What a lovely hobby. But she's going to be, you know, a pharmacist so that she has insurance and a
Can't pay her
regular
bills.
job. Yes. So I remember the teacher's face being deflated. She was trying to say, you have a Faulkner. You have, you know, it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
No,
It didn't compute.
that was Nana was a different generation. She didn't believe in all that
Well,
stuff.
you know,
Initially.
she was part of the Depression generation. And I said, how were you affected by the Depression? She said, we were always depressed. All it did was level the playing field as far as we were concerned. So, yeah.
But then she went on to working. She worked full time while Papa was in the Army, and
Yeah.
ended up owning a bunch of real estate and all kinds of stuff.
Ran a
right?
restaurant right
Yeah.
on the beach for many years, right on the Gulf.
What was the name of that?
The Old Hickory. I had no barbecue. They
No.
just never changed the name. Yeah, it was seafood. It was steaks. It was great. And I got to start working there when I was 11 years old, rolling silverware. And when I was 12, I started waiting on tables. And when I was 15, I got to graduate to the night shift working with the college kids, and that was big time.
That's
was,
where the tips came into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to lay on the beach all day long and then go work at night.
Oh
It
man.
was great.
My dad actually worked there too. Is that the same one he worked at, or was that was Andrews, Captain Andrews?
Yes,
That
he
was
worked
Captain
at Captain
Andrews.
Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
so then, okay, let me ask you this. At that age, you know, somebody tells you you're a great writer when you're in 6th grade and you start writing stuff and you enjoy it. When you're in high school and like you're moving forward with stuff, is that in the back of your mind? Were you continuing to write, or were you like, I want to be a writer at that time?
Yeah, I never wanted to be anything else, but because I didn't know any writers and there were no writers in the family, I went into journalism and broadcast journalism and ended up getting a little scholarship there and continued studying journalism when I went to University of West Florida, but I ended up taking a playwriting class to improve my dialogue because I wanted to write the great American novel. Still on my to-do list, the great American novel that wins a Pulitzer Prize. So, yeah, and I fell in love with the theater and started writing plays and stayed there for 10 years and drugged these guys around.
Yeah, I would make a joke. So for those that do know me, I made a joke. I would always make a joke that we moved every 6 months, and my mom was running from the police or the law. Why did we move so much? Job opportunities?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Were we sometimes running from the law?
Well, you never know. It's just always good to, once in a while when you get that feeling, it's time to just pick up roots and go on. I think it's something in me that that desires to move.
Really?
And I was sitting on my porch. You know how much I love
hated
my
it.
view. I know you did.
I
I'm
hated
so
it.
sorry.
Don't be sorry. I
If it was
appreciate
one
it.
of
Now,
my-
I started with I hated it, and I have an end state now.
Yeah.
You know.
So
I remember.
so
I remember.
sorry, you
I
know.
remember hurting your feelings one time. Or I don't think I hurt your feelings. I remember you were like. I remember you just being. You looked like you got crushed. I don't remember which house it was. Maybe when we moved back to Pensacola, I had everything in like a garbage bag, and you said, "Why don't you unpack?" And I was like, "Why? We're just gonna move. We're gonna be gone soon." So I just left it all in there. I was like, "I'm just gonna live out of this bag because we're gonna be moving on." And I remember you going, "Oh, I remember that." And that would now being a parent now, I'd be like, "Oh, that would fucking sting.
Yeah,
that would sting."
No, I blocked that from memory. You know.
But honestly, I mean, literally, I could be exaggerating, but I felt like growing up, we moved every 6 months.
We didn't quite do that. Okay, there were different opportunities. I was working at the city of Seaside.
I remember that.
Okay, and
That's when Chris and I were. Well, we were always running around getting in trouble, but running around getting in trouble in Seaside was much better than running around getting in trouble in Arizona.
So I made certain that you were a part of Camp Seaside so that Mom could work upstairs doing arts development and see you marching around with the crazy little teacher, you know, that did things, and you guys.
I don't remember that.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, Chris can tell
I
you about
remember
it.
we were at this like stilt house, and we were supposed to stay home,
Yes.
and we never did,
Right.
and we got busted. I think once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were latchkey in it.
We were.
With me calling you every 15 minutes going, where are you?
On payphones.
Yeah. We were.
Landline. No,
yeah.
that's when that graduated to another time.
We'll get to that story.
Yeah.
So.
The reason we were there only 6 months is because it was a great house. It was right on the water. It
Yeah, I
had a
remember.
water view.
Yeah.
Looked out into the Gulf.
We thought we hit it big time.
Well, we only had it for the off season. I couldn't afford to pay for the summertime
I don't know.
charge.
I'm sure you know. Me and Chris, you know the bike rentals.
Yes,
Me and Chris would just go take those
I'm sure.
whenever we needed them.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we need a bike. We would just steal the bikes and then go ride around where we needed.
I mean,
them.
borrow.
Yeah,
Technically, you brought them back.
I never just kept them. We didn't need to keep them. They're more. So we would just take what we needed, ride around, and go where we needed to go, and run our scams. We had a scam that we would run in multiple states, and I don't know, when we only got busted, I think once, and I don't remember where we got busted, but
You got busted by your mother in
I
Taos,
know
New Mexico.
it was New Mexico. It wasn't. I thought we got
Right.
busted in Seaside.
No, you got busted in Taos, New Mexico.
Okay, so what the thing that we would do? I don't even know. We were.
This is
little.
excellent. This is every kid
This is
should learn
after the multiple times you'd pull this.
Oh, I've pulled.
Yeah,
Yeah, we pulled this for years.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely years. And if you look at my brother now, you wouldn't think so, but when he was a kid, he was like the quintessential little cute little boy.
curly little locks.
Curly little sandy
Sweet
blonde
little
hair.
smile.
Yeah, little smile, short, little round head, good looking little kid. And just cute as can be, man. Cute as can be.
Still cute as can be. Go ahead.
It's a little rough around the edges these days.
He's older.
Looks a little scary.
He looks, yeah. I got another story about that. Yeah, he's got to sleep. He's got his own tats.
Yeah. So, anyways, so what we would do is, and I was, I'm 3 years older than my brother, so I would just show up to these restaurants and be like, hey, we look like two rugrat poor kids, and we show up and be like, hey, kids, can I get a table and some water? Because it's my brother's birthday, and I just wanted to take him out, and I don't have any money, so. And these waitresses and hostess would be like, they'd see the two of us and they'd be like, oh my Lord. and I was the front man, and he would just sit there, like, look like, the only thing I can imagine is, remember Puss in Boots when he did the cat thing and he's like, he gave the cat eyes. So that's what Chris would do. Chris would just be like holding his little hat and he's like, and I'd be like, yeah, it's my brother's birthday. So they'd bring us in, they'd give us waters, or they would give us like sodas, drinks,
sodas.
Yeah, and then they would give us
cake.
they would give us the house salads, and then they would bring out a dessert that we would
And
share.
like the bread that they give everybody at the
and
table.
The bread, yeah. So they would just put us in this like little 2-seat thing, and then they just had a blast like serving us, and I'd be like, thank you so much. You just made his birthday the best. You know, my mom's working.
Maybe we don't know where she is.
We don't know
I
where
was
she is.
right upstairs working at my desk.
So we ran this scam in every city that we went to. Now you got to keep in mind this is late 80s, probably early 90s. No,
Late 80s.
Late 80s. Yeah, by the early 90s I was getting in trouble. So late 80s we were running this scam. So, you know, kids just back then we just ran around wherever we went.
I was safe.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
ran
we're safe.
around with me working at the grants office
But
for
that
the
was for-
arts organization right upstairs.
That was in New Mexico, though.
Yes, yes.
So how do we get? I don't remember this. I just remember you were really mad because I don't think we were supposed to be out. I think we were supposed to be at home. And anyways,
You think? You think your 8-year-old and your 5-year-old should be at home? I think so.
They probably could have played. There was a fountain. There was a coffee shop. There were, excuse me, there were artists everywhere, but you weren't supposed to be scamming.
People.
You know,
Scamming
that
at
was
business
the
owners.
thing. Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, so how did we get busted?
Your mom came looking for you.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason remember that you were at the one restaurant that we did the scam
Yeah,
at.
he tells the story that you were eating lunch with your colleagues from work and you see your kids walk in.
Nada.
No?
That was another time.
Oh, so I got busted twice.
No, this is when you were older on a bike and you were supposed to be home and it was the middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So let's stick with this
totally
story.
different thing.
So you came looking for us and found us
I
at the
came
restaurant.
looking for you, found you having a great time. I should have just, at this age, I'd have just backed out and go, well, they got this, you know? But I was like, what do you think you're doing?
What did I say?
I don't know what you said. I don't know what you said.
Oh man, I could imagine that feeling like, oh, my whole scam is
But I mean,
busted.
it's pretty impressive. It's like the one of those things where you have to like be like, oh my God, don't do that again, and then like tell your friends later, like, I'm so impressed that they did that. They got all that free stuff.
It was pretty funny.
So we did that until pretty much until I hit puberty and like started doing other scams, more illegal opportunities.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that thing worked so good, especially if they were young women servers.
And they usually
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, we knew we were targeting. We looked
Yeah,
like,
you
that's
did.
the one that we need to talk to. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, we moved around a lot, and it was good. But the thing, you know, I said that I hated it then, because you got to think, kid, like you don't ever have friends. Like we had friends here and there, but it
We
was
had each other.
we had each other, and we really did. And that was our crew, and. But growing up, once I became an adult and then joined the military, you know, I watched so many people just not be able to function on the road. They needed all their creature comforts. They couldn't sleep, you know, anywhere. They couldn't live out of a bag, you know, and they were, obviously they did. They were forced
Super
to.
attached to their things.
Yeah, super
material
attached
things.
to things like that. And I was just, it was so easy for me to like live that life,
Right.
because like I've been doing this my whole life. This is
Right.
nothing but a thing. So anyways, long story short, I learned that it was actually a good thing.
Well, I'm glad it turned out that way for you. I mean, I have some regrets in life, and looking back, I would have done a few things differently, and I think I would have probably, for your sake, gotten a house. This is my imaginary world.
Yeah, this is imaginary
put
world.
you
This
in
is not a
Little
this is
League,
not a real thing,
Put
Mom.
you in Little League, and you would have gone every year, and you would have known all the
Oh.
kids in the neighborhood.
He'd
That
be
was-
strapped to a desk and working a 40-hour week in khakis.
Yeah.
But the fact
Until I put a
is,
shotgun in my mouth
it
and
just
blow my brains out.
It wasn't me, you know. It just wasn't me. It's a sense of adventure and wanting to travel. I wish would have seriously gotten my PhD, had summers off from teaching and taking you guys to a different country every year during the summer. That would have been the ideal plan.
Yeah, that briefs well on paper. We were poor. if you
Well,
remember.
if I had been able, well, therefore, and so on and so forth. So we did it the poor way. We put our stuff in bags and we hit the road. It's like time to travel.
So
it's sort of a traveler's spirit. It really is.
I try to tell people that, and I called you the other day, and you know, growing up, obviously I didn't like it and this and that and like having to move all the time. And again, this is, you got to keep in mind, this is all pre 11 years old, maybe. And looking back as an adult now, I'm like, my mom raised 2 boys. Well, at least keep us out of from killing each other or killing ourselves.
I tried.
Yeah. By herself, working sometimes 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Like that's
well, and tell what you. I mean, if you're okay with it, he wanted to think about the other day.
Oh
he
yeah, I was
asked
thinking about the actual like, okay,
how much money you were making.
got a single mom. Well, single-ish. There were some characters involved here and there.
Occasionally I married one.
Yeah.
And then I divorced him.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes.
Is that guy alive?
I don't know what guy of which you speak.
The one?
I don't keep up with those people.
Okay.
Okay.
I keep wanting to know if he's alive or not.
I know your dad's alive. That's all I know.
Yeah, my dad's
Okay,
alive.
there you go.
So anyways, so I was like, her and I were talking about it. I'm like, so she did all this, working 2 jobs to raise 2 boys and provide for us and to give us what we could and keep. And we always had we were never homeless that I remember.
No, we were just on the road.
Yeah, we were homeless on the road.
Homeless.
We weren't homeless.
We were moving to Phoenix.
Yeah,
and so we camped, I think, on the way in a really pretty place, and we went to stay with a friend.
yeah. We stayed.
And
we spent the summer in
No,
Phoenix.
No, we spent 2 weeks in Phoenix.
That was only 2 weeks.
I was
Oh shit!
I was looking for a job.
That felt like 3 months.
I know.
I remember my rubber on my shoes melting to the concrete.
I'm not a fan of Phoenix.
No.
And so I, nothing against lovely people who live there, but
Not for me.
I looked and looked for a job, and I had fallen in love with New Mexico driving through there and just went, wow, what a beautiful state. The only job I found advertised for what I did was in Taos, New Mexico. So I backtracked for an interview, and I went for 3 days and met with the board, got that job, came back, got you, and we moved.
Which was awesome.
It was awesome.
The Taos was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, and now it's, I think, isn't Taos like one of like a premier?
Yeah, they say, and then also with the Airbnbs and everything, like it's so up and coming with the young people.
That's
and
so crazy.
It's
it was like a little
busy.
hole in the middle of nowhere
I think
back
it was
then.
almost like the streets were dirt almost, right?
Yeah.
Just crazy.
It was like this weird mountainous Mexico is what it was
It
like.
was an artist colony
Yeah.
that was primarily Native American and Spanish. And so Anglos were the minority, and those were mostly crazy artists that thought they came through the 5th dimension. Someone told
I
me
remember that. There was a lot of alien stuff, right? Yeah.
there's the buzz. You know, there was a buzz. Literally, people could hear a buzz like it was coming from underground or something. I don't know. Yeah,
That's right. So, and it was cool. That's where I learned to ski because
sure
the
did.
school took us. That was part of the school, like public school system there, because it's right there.
I had you in a private school, but that's okay.
Yeah, we could talk about that school
The public schools were no better.
where I got beat up all the time.
Well, you learned, didn't you?
This is what I grew up with.
Back
That's why.
to your stories.
That's why I am the man
Yeah.
I am today, ladies and gentlemen. Right there.
I was always trying to fight your battles, darling.
Oh, I know.
Some battles moms aren't meant to fight.
No. That school was where I got a lot of funny stories about that time.
And you
but
ended up being best friends with that dude.
after I smashed his face into the gravel.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never messed with me. Yeah, we ended up being friends. Anyways, where was I at, Pam?
we were talking about how
Oh, yeah,
she was making her what she
so
was making.
I asked her, I said, okay, it's the 3 of us. And like, how much were you making to provide for us? And like
in the 90s, like late 80s, early 90s.
It was late 80s. And I was thinking about it, and you don't really remember, but it was like at some point it was less than $1,000 to $1,500 a month, maybe.
Oh, yeah. And imagine what rent was and food and everything. So, yeah. And that was work and roll jobs, you know?
That's crazy. That's
It
crazy.
it really did make him. We were sitting and talking about it, and he called you to ask, because we were both like, I wonder kind of even how that was working, like back at that time, like how was she able to do it? And you just got a new appreciation for the whole situation. He was like, holy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know until you know. But like that's what I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, that's absolutely insane. To like no wonder we got clothes from Goodwill and different things. There's no money.
Eating mac and cheese, living that life.
Yeah,
Well, spaghetti. I could make spaghetti, right?
Spaghetti.
Lots of spaghetti.
Lots of spaghetti.
Oh,
And
he
I would
loves his
take you-
spaghetti.
I would take you to the fast food place, and I go, you guys can have anything on the dollar menu that you want.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And I
Good times.
yeah. Anyways, I just cannot believe that was a lot. That's a lot. You did a good job, Mom.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I tried to work in you being able to have pets in the middle of that.
Yeah.
know? Truly.
It was my childhood was an adventure. All of it.
Yes, it was.
It was 100% an adventure.
And she was coming home and, watching, tell that, because I think that's probably the coolest thing. She tried so hard. She worked so much, and she was coming home and taking you to the movies at night still.
Well,
just so you could-
sometimes. I remember the one time that we were at some childcare thing, and it was late, and you took us to see horrible movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven.
What a horrible movie. How did I know? How did I know it was going to be that
Me
way?
and Chris were like, "Oh my
My
god,
God,
Yeah.
this is one of the worst movies ever.
Taking two little kids." I mean, it was a kid movie, but it was like it was
It's
heavy.
intense. Yeah, that movie's
Yeah.
heavy.
You know what amazed me? Because we were staying with my friend for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and that got a little old for us. We were used to being.
That was the first time you hit me.
I don't remember hitting you. Thanks for bringing that up.
No, I deserved it. I said I mouthed off to you about something in the kitchen. And I only remember that I think it became such a memory in my mind because either you were holding a whole tray of silverware or I was, and then when you hit me, the silverware went everywhere on the kitchen floor.
I can't imagine.
You say hit. She probably just smacked your mouth.
No, she smacked my mouth.
Yeah, that's not hitting.
But that's
get-
not me. I don't even do that. I mean,
No, I'm pretty
it
sure
must
I
have
just,
been really bad.
While I was hanging with yeah.
It must have been something you picked up, but that was really bad.
From the teenage boys downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because that just isn't your mom. I don't do that. You guys maybe got one whipping from me in your life.
That's the only time I remember.
There was another time I tried to give you guys whippings, but Chris always laughed, and you would tell me, I can't breathe. And then I'd go, oh my God, he can't breathe, and Chris would laugh. And I'm like, this is not working. I was not good at discipline. I was very good. I was very good at love and unconditional love, truly unconditional love.
Not good at discipline.
Not good at discipline.
No.
So, but on another note, we were obviously needed to get out of that house.
Yeah.
I took you guys to see, what's Kevin Costner's movie? Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Most of it's not in English.
Yeah.
You guys just sat there mesmerized. And
It's a good movie.
I was sliding down in my seat, and then I was trying to, you couldn't read fast enough to read what was on there. You were little, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to translate the whole thing to you. But you guys, man, you didn't get up. You didn't ask to go to the bathroom.
You know why?
You
Because it
didn't
probably had air conditioner inside. And we were like, you know what? We're good in here. We're good in here right now. Let's just hang out in the movie theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, and it was a great movie.
And that's one thing
So
that
good.
my mom does at movie theaters. You don't go to a movie theater and you don't knock. Even when we didn't have any money, we always got popcorn.
Always.
Sometimes we had to bring it in, but we always had it.
I think we usually bought it.
We bought some.
I mean, sometimes
We brought some popcorn in.
we bought it. Can't go to a movie without popcorn.
Yeah.
I experienced that one time as a kid, me, Debbie, and Sheila.
Uh-huh.
And we were at the movie theater with no money for popcorn, and all we could smell and hear were the other
You're like,
people.
this will never happen
It
again.
was never happen. Never happen again. So it did not.
Oh man. And then so I was born in South Florida, actually where we're looking to buy somewhere close where we're looking to buy a house now.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after that, you actually moved to Kansas City when I was a baby,
Baby. Mm-hmm.
which ironically enough,
Mm-hmm.
was like a street over from Miss
Right.
Capra.
Yeah.
In the same neighborhood, Grandview.
Down the street.
Down the street.
We could walk to each other's houses.
You weren't born yet.
Well, I was when we were there.
No, I was 2.
No, you were baby.
Yeah, you
I
were
was
born.
80. You stayed till 85.
I don't think so.
No?
I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
We were down the street.
No,
from
no,
your
no. Mm-mm.
You were already gone?
Gone.
We were down the street from your mom.
While she was
I might have been hanging out with your brother.
Could have
Because
been.
I had Chris in Panama City, Florida.
Okay.
That's how
He was
I
born in
know.
85.
Yeah, and we had your 2-year-old
But
birthday.
he was
party
born in
Panama City.
He was born in September of 85,
Yeah.
right? And I was born in January of
He
85.
was born in September of 84.
Oh, he's older
Oh,
than
really?
me.
You're 82.
Yeah, I know.
He's 84.
Are you sure?
You're freaking me out.
I think
Yes.
he's 85.
No,
Is
he's
he
not.
Is
He's
he older
84.
than me? Yeah.
Oh,
He's
okay.
84.
Okay. Is my sister 85?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
There you
All
go.
right.
Okay.
I'm getting old, Mom.
She actually
I
might
know.
be
Cut me some
86,
slack.
actually.
Cut me some
Steph.
slack.
Yeah, she's got to be 86.
I think
she's a little
she's-
bit farther.
Yeah.
away.
I think she's a year younger than me. She's
There's more
86.
separation between.
Yeah, these events. Yeah. The way I
So-
remember.
So, anyways, we're down the street from Neil,
Yeah.
and the Capras, and then we go back to Florida, and that's when kind of the
We settled there, stayed for a while. That's when I got into advertising, started working at the Channel 13.
okay
And then after that, I started selling billboards.
Lamar.
Yeah, I
I remember
I
that.
can still sell billboards. I can still sell advertising.
I don't know. Do you think billboards are still a viable marketing?
Oh, God, you don't want me to go into it and talk about impressions and how you see them even when you think you don't see them. You know, your subconscious
true.
registers. Yes.
Really? That's the sales pitch.
It's
Huh?
how many impressions that you get, how many times you've driven by that, and it's impressing upon your subconscious mind.
Oh, okay.
Can't turn
Well,
the channel, can't turn it off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective. I look at them like this is a waste. It's a
Mhm.
waste of money.
Sure.
I
How
don't
many
want, I'm
times
not.
have you looked at it going, this is waste?
Touche. All right. Maybe we knew that Lamar
But
people.
yeah, she hits me up all the time.
Yeah. She is relentless.
Yeah, that's the way you pay the bills,
Yeah.
baby. Cold calling, going
Yeah.
in businesses, cold calling. you know.
So we went everywhere from, like, we went back and forth over the country, moved around all around Florida, really, and then kind of came back and settled. What was that decision to like really come back to Panama City Beach and go, or Panama City and go? Okay.
Only because Papa got sick.
Oh,
So
that's when it started
Tandy
happening.
was with the police force in Georgia.
Yeah, she was
I
a detective.
was executive director of that arts organization, Taos, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Papa got really sick. And, you know, I could see Taos Mountain from my window.
Yeah.
Ideal. Listen to the fountain. Papa got sick. We packed it in. She left Georgia, moved to PC.
Is that when his first heart situation started happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I left New Mexico, and we moved back to Panama City.
That was it?
That was it.
Oh.
And then he got better.
He did.
For a long time.
For a long time, yeah.
yeah.
Maybe he just needed his grandsons.
Yeah, I think
know.
so.
I tell you what, man, he was talking about, so you could not discipline. He could discipline.
Yeah, with a look.
I mean, no, he would act like he could, that belt and those switches were no joke.
No, that's why you learn to run fast.
Really, yeah. That's the only time Chris ever beat me in a foot
But
race.
he wasn't bad at that either. He just meant for you not. I mean, he wasn't bad.
No, he wasn't like an asshole.
He wasn't like a whipping dad.
No. If he pulled that out, it's because Chris and I were like
Really
deserved
bad.
it. Really bad.
You probably had done something dangerous he told you not to do.
Yeah, he didn't like us going to the water when we were little by
Without him.
himself, without him,
Sure.
and we would just go to the water
He
all the
grew
time.
up there. How many people you think he saw drown? Our kids.
Or grabbed by a gator or something.
Sure.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we lived down there, playing with snakes and all the other stuff that
yeah,
he told us not
that,
to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Boy stuff.
Boy, just
Yeah,
boy stuff.
boy
He was a
stuff.
boy there too.
Yeah, he knew. He knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
this place, everything here is trying to kill you.
Yes, it is. It really is.
He was awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely awesome. Side note, did you know that I went to, I think I told you, because I actually need to get that back from Nana or from you.
I've
Or
got it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to I actually had to go to the Army Airborne School, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up staying in the same company
Mm-hmm.
in the same barracks that he did in what, like the 50s or 60s or something?
It would have been early 60s because I went when I was a little girl, like maybe 3 years old, to watch him jump out of planes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and nothing had changed.
Yeah.
It was the same barracks, the same everything. It was the same company. So anyways, I took my original jump wings, like the Army Airborne wings, and then put them in like a little frame and picture and dedicated them to him. And he had already passed. I'm pretty sure I went in 2004 and I think he passed in 2002. So a couple years after. But anyways, ironic that him and I got totally different because I was in the Marine Corps, he was in the Army. But it was.
Yeah, because you put his flag in there. I was trying to remember
Yeah.
everything in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He was so proud of you. And he got to go see you honor grad.
yeah.
Walk across the film.
Yeah, he got
undergrad.
to watch me. Yeah, I can't
Pretty
believe.
amazing.
And he was pretty old at that point. I was pretty.
He couldn't drive anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but I remember he got to show up to that. It was good. He was a good man. Worked really hard. Did a lot of.
My Army daddy, as I called him.
22 years in the Army, right? Yeah. And we didn't even find out about all his awards until he had passed.
Never talked about him.
Yeah, I found.
From Vietnam.
Yeah, I got which I still have. They're actually in the safe. So I had to do a records request, and he got a Bronze Star in Vietnam
Oh, yeah.
during an ambush
Mm-hmm.
and all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
Didn't even know about it.
Other things.
Other things, yeah. Okay, so he was with the 101st and the 82nd in 2 different times. So, and he was drafted, actually drafted in Korea, wasn't he? For
Yes,
Korea.
he was in Korea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had GED, high school dropout.
You know why?
Uh,
He was in class and they told him he had to stand up in front of the class and give a speech. And he said, no, I don't either. And he was in 10th grade and he got up and walked out and never went back. And I was like, Daddy, I was one of the mom, like, Daddy. So, just, so sometimes I see that stubborn streak in you guys, and you and Chris both.
we're like, nah.
No,
Not gonna do that.
Not going to do it that way. I'll do it my way.
Oh, I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of stuff in our childhood that when you look at it at the moment, you're like, this is bullshit. And now I look at it at 40 and I'm like, that's the reason why I am.
I tell you all the time, I think it's just amazing because, there's millions of single moms in the world. I mean, it is a real thing, right? Lots of people do it. But I could probably count on my hand the number of single moms that I've seen who stick to their dream
Yeah.
the whole time. And like most women will just go get a waitressing job and that's that.
Like,
It's
well,
like,
I got to provide for my
Got to
kids.
take care of my kids, and I'm going to just do that, and that's going to be that, and will be the end of it. And then when they're done, I'll figure something out. But you stuck with it the whole time, and I want to know why and how.
I think it's something more like I couldn't quit. It's not like I had an option. I think if it would have been easy to quit, I would have quit, I don't think.
And you didn't even publish your first book until when?
Well, I took time off being a mom and supporting you, so I really.
But you went to college. You were a playwright. You did. What was the big play that happened in Pensacola? Mama Jules.
Oh man, Mama Jules performed for the people from London at Seaside. She performed for some pretty major people.
Yeah.
But no, I did a play called Soul, Rhythm, and Blues that was set during the Depression off of train tracks. I don't really remember that. But Mama Jules and Tales from Mullet Creek.
Yeah.
So that was a character that people thought was real that I wrote and created. So yeah, that was really.
So that's what she's saying.
That's
Is
what
like
I'm saying.
you kept going the whole like.
Even if it
and-
was a
even
side
in and out.
gig, even if it was like
Yeah,
you
it
were
was.
always doing that also.
I'm writing stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, just writing stories. But no, I didn't publish my first novel until 2003.
I was already out. I was already out of the house.
Yes.
I always throw that. I'm like, you had to wait until I like moved out and like
To finally get a book done.
to
Gosh,
make some
damn,
money.
Nick, why
Like,
don't
we were poor as
It
kids,
wasn't like
and
I
then
made a lot of money on that novel, but
made more money than we had when we were growing up.
it was out. But with the first novel, I was really, remember, Papa was really sick.
Mm-hmm.
You were graduating. And I was telling him I was trying so hard for that novel to be published before he passed away.
Graduating boot camp?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I wanted, and of course, you had to go through twice because your injury, you were stuck there.
Yeah.
So.
Why didn't you go twice? I stayed there. I was there for 5.5 months. Yeah.
Right. So, it was written. I wrote it while I spent 3 years writing that novel. So I was writing it while you were in high school.
Oh, okay.
While you were having like hordes, your posse in the house all the time. But
well, you got to say high school loosely because I only did 2 years.
When you were in that period,
yeah,
I was writing it. So, and then I really went with a publisher that was different than a choice I'd make today because I was in a hurry trying to get it published before Papa died, and it didn't make it. But I think the cover was designed, and the contract was signed.
Yeah.
And he got to see, he said, this is really going to happen. I said, yeah, Daddy, it's really happening. I tell you what, you know how Nana wanted me to be a pharmacist?
Yeah.
And
why did she have that in her head? What was the?
It's that generation and all of them, her sisters, everybody were very like career orientated.
Yeah, but why that? Why a pharmacist?
Well, she worked for Dr. Newberry.
Tandy says it was so that she would have drugs. She would have the inside scoop, and she had my sister become a nurse. And she said that's what her master plan was, drugs and medical care for herself. So I think...
Clever as a fox, that one. They always said she was clever as a fox.
She knew it was truly a job that would be in demand and would have good health benefits and would always, you could work in any state. So she was trying to be positive. But when I told Dad that I wanted to be a writer when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And he was stationed, of all things, I think he was in Colorado at the time. And he immediately sent me home a thesaurus and a book on Western art. And he wrote a note and said, I understand writers. Anyone who wants to be a writer needs one of these. And I didn't even know what a thesaurus was at the time. It's just this big book of words.
What a badass dad move.
Badass dad move.
Wow.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nana's like, yeah, sure, get a job.
He always believed in me as a writer. Mm-hmm.
He was great. Nana, it was great too, but she was
she was different.
Ass.
She was like the godfather, but the godmother. You know what I
Big
mean?
time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, I know. I was her daughter. I know. Yeah. And I'm like a gypsy, like a traveler, like an artistic spirit. So.
Didn't go over well all the time.
All in water.
Yeah.
But we laughed a lot. She told me one time, I really would have enjoyed you if you hadn't been my daughter.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
I have all these plans for you.
Yeah. That was her hard thing. She really wanted me to be everything she didn't have the opportunity to be.
I mean, she just grew up. I mean, I heard the stories of her like picking cotton as a kid and like all that. I mean, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And they grew up
real poor.
They grew up poor and hard. So they just looked at things different. It's not about like chasing your dreams. It was about
survival,
working, making money.
You get one biscuit a day, and the ants got it while you were picking cotton. You remember that kind of thing, you know?
Right.
So
Anyways, so going back. So we moved back to Panama City. Papa gets better. This is when, and everybody really likes this part, right? They like to, especially because I joined the Marine Corps in spite of it. But I started to, at some point, I started to get in a little bit of trouble.
You certainly did.
Yeah, and started hanging out with the wrong crowd.
That's because they were next door. We moved into a house where they were next door.
Well,
that was the
they weren't all next door. There was one person that was next door,
and she was the key, the magic key to all the bad people.
She is actually the reason why I got arrested both times.
I'm sure.
No, one time.
Her name was Rachel.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to name drop on here in a negative way.
Yeah. I also have a person named Rachel I adore, who is Rachel O'Neill. So it's not like it's
not
that
Rachel.
Yeah, it's not a bad name. It's just I remember that girl.
No, all the O'Neills have a special place in me and my brother's heart. Growing up.
Yeah, fun times, beach times.
Well, you actually went to school with my dad and
Virginia.
Virginia,
Their
like you guys
mom.
all grew up together.
And their dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And David. And then then Chris and I grew up.
And then when I went back to
girls.
college at the University of West Florida, they were there.
Yeah.
And so then we started all hanging out together and going to the beach and
I thought
times.
Chris and April were going to be a thing.
I thought they were going to marry.
So did I.
I'm still holding out for the possibility. You know, I bring it up every once in a while, you know.
Well, they're technically both single still.
No, she's not.
She's not single?
No, but, well.
Off the air.
They don't listen to this podcast.
She's not. But there were moments when she was, and I was like, "Here's the opportunity." He's
She's
single,
available.
she's single.
She's available, Chris.
Yeah.
He's too lazy to go back to
Oh, let's not.
that. He is.
Be nice.
I'll tell him this. I'll call him right now. I'll put him on. I'll put him on the pod. Maybe we should do
Lazy's
that.
not the word. Your brother is.
No. I don't mean he's lazy as a person. He's
Right.
lazy when it comes to women.
He means he doesn't want to go
He
for
doesn't.
some long
He's not
thing.
gonna. He's not gonna work for some woman.
No, he's not.
So
No, he's not.
my point stands.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my point stands.
That's not lazy. That is you're comfortable with who you are and your lifestyle. You know.
And anyone who comes along your path.
Yeah. Right.
Chris, I love you, but you are lazy when it comes to women.
That's different. Not lazy. Okay.
But anyway, so I start getting into some trouble.
Serious trouble.
Serious trouble, like
And it
gang,
got
and
worse.
yeah, I got a gang, and there's a whole racket of like pawn shops and stealing stuff and things like that. Anyways, ended up with I think it was just at the time one felony, but we got busted because of that girl because she wasn't supposed to be on.
Let's back
Operations.
up and talk about
What?
one of those special nights. Talk about a mother who was involved and trying to do multiple things. One of the things was I got into business with someone to raise the money to open a movie theater.
Yes, awesome.
Awesome thing,
Awesome
right? That your
thing.
mom did.
I gotta pee. Hold on. You guys can keep talking.
Well, pick it up
No, yeah, we'll
right
keep talking.
there.
Well, no, you have to hear this because you gotta.
Talk about something else. Keep it rolling. Don't cut it.
Don't cut it. Well, so regarding my question earlier, just with like sticking with it and constantly doing something with your dreams, even though you couldn't maybe necessarily write the book and sell it when they were kids or whatever, you never stopped writing, you never stopped hustling that and chasing it and doing things in fields that could maybe get you closer to it.
Oh, no, that's true. And even when they were little and I was in Pensacola, now that we're talking about the O'Neills and my friend Virginia, who had always written and wanted to write too. And somehow we found out about the screenwriting conference in New Orleans. And we both took a trip for that weekend and went to stay with Sue Finlaw, who was a friend, that we grew up with in high school. Her mother lived in New Orleans. We went to stay with her and went to this screenwriting conference. So you're right, which turned out the screenplay that they were using as an example was called The Body, and it actually became made as Stand By Me.
Oh,
And,
really?
Yeah, they changed the title. It was Stephen King's,
That's
story.
nuts.
Yeah, so
You
you're
were-
right.
yeah.
So that was like, okay, trying to get into the screenplay writing, thing and see what will happen. And then ended up writing the plays and then yeah, you make decisions like, where am I going to be able to make money and support these kids? Well, I'll sell advertising, you
Right.
know? And still maybe writing short stories or submitting them, but not really. And then writing a novel, full-length novel, was different than being involved with a theater troupe, so
Yeah.
that was a very more lonely thing. But you're right, I was still going to writers' conferences, and making connections. And
It's just like I don't think that like a lot of single moms in this era kind of have that grit to just like, you just fucking don't let that shit go. Keep doing something in your where you want to go and look at it now. I mean, now you've written all these books and you're still doing it. And whereas you could have just said, well, I've got kids now and
I wonder if it made a difference because I had a few people in my life, like that 6th grade teacher that said you were born to be a writer. And
Had to have.
And that stuck so deeply with me. And then my creative writing teachers in high school and my broadcast journalism teacher, and then my playwriting mentor saying, you are this kind of writer. You are, I only get a few writers in a lifetime that I consider writers, and you are that person. So, I have had some voices, along the way
that's major
have
because
made a difference.
If you think about it, you fully believed it. Your whole life, you fully believed in yourself that you were going to do it.
And that one thing, yes.
And that's where he gets it. I feel like, and I tell him all the time, he's like, I'm not like my mom. And I'm like, yeah, you are. You are. Because he has that same, there is not a doubt in his mind at any time that he is going to be successful and he's going to make it and he's going to get there. And he believes it through and through.
And I have since I was a little kid. But I think when I say I'm not like her, I think what I focus on a lot is not the entrepreneurial aspect of it or the success aspect of it. I focus on the
way her brain works.
The butterfly.
You and Chris, you and your brother, Mom, you're such a hippie. And I'm like, I am not a hippie. I was too young to be a hippie. And he just thinks that I'm all butterflies and unicorns and rainbows, and sparkle dust.
That's what that's exactly what I'm. That's what I think about.
And then I write these books where people are gritty and killing people and murdering people, and the collection of short stories, darker, more dark, a side of dark. So, and also raising all that money to build that theater.
Yeah.
My God,
grant writing, all that stuff.
I've gotten millions of dollars in grants. That's very serious work. And still you and your brother are like, oh, Mom's like this little gypsy
she's
flower
an artist.
girl. She's an artist.
She's in the clouds, man.
She's in the clouds. Right,
yeah.
right.
So,
the same thing to me.
So take one, scene one. This was...
Okay, back to the movie theater.
Yeah, this was early 90s? 91?
I think so.
92?
Well, you were about 12 years old when it started.
No, because I started work. You guys let me work there at 11.
Okay, so you were about 12 years old.
Okay, we're just gonna call it 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you sure you were 11? I thought you were 12.
No, because I was 11, and then right after that, I was still 11. I think when you let me work at All American Diner, we lied about my age.
No, you were. I think you were 13, and you were supposed to be 14. Look.
You
were 12 years old when you were putting the platter system together, and when we were building the theater, and the guys, you were doing the projection room, and the guys installing the projector, you were helping them, and they thought you were such an incredible kid. I really thought you were 12 years old.
No,
I have to go back and look this up.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't because if you look at my Social Security statement or. That you get a statement once a year, Social Security. It goes back to when I was 11 years old.
Right.
Or 11 or 12. And because I was paying Social Security, which is not even legal in Florida, and we lied about our age.
Well, I did too.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did, when I was a kid.
I remember us going there, and we'll go back to the Take One Scene One, but I remember us going to that All-American Diner. So those of you know Panama City Beach, it's still there, All-American Diner. My very first official job. Washing tables, and I remember the manager or the owner or whatever, it was one of the cooks, came out and he looked at you. He was like, "You're allowing him to work here?" And you were like, "Yes." And he's like, "Okay." And then I don't know how long I worked there, but
I probably thought at that point it was going to help get you out of some trouble. But that was when. So here I am doing all the theater stuff. You want to talk about the time that I told you guys I had to run to the theater? And I'll be right back. Do not leave this house.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 15 minutes. You guys are missing?
Yeah, we're not missing.
You were missing to your mama.
No.
You were not home. There was no note.
We were on our bikes.
No, you were not on your bikes. You had decided to just leave and go walk to the theater, which wasn't too far away. But then it got dark, so you went to the fire station.
Oh, to get a ride?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the fireman. We don't know where our mom is.
Can I get a ride home?
Can I get a ride home?
Yeah, man.
Here I am looking for you guys, and I turn around, You're on a fire truck with the engines coming in. They're like got the thing on and they're pulling up in the front yard.
They were nice guys.
Sure. It's like, ma'am, do you know where your kids are? That was a thing then. Do you know where your children are? Well, I did until they left,
So anyways, going back to what made you have this idea of creating. So just so you guys know, this movie theater, I think there was dollar movie theaters at the time, right?
There were, but nothing like that.
Nothing like this.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't even, we weren't a dollar theater. We were
basically dollar theater.
Yeah, but it
we
wasn't
were
a
like
dollar. It was like a low cost.
Yeah, if it might have been a couple bucks, but it was a full bar, upscale food. It was so cool.
It was very cool. And we had like we had a huge projector for like, I remember the FSU Gator game was there.
Oh yeah, we did live. We did the
live sports and all kinds of stuff.
Special events. We did the Rolling Stones concert live.
Yep.
We played Jurassic Park all summer long.
I told her about that. I think that once it left mainstream theaters, we got it and it stayed in circulation for like 4 months.
No, it was there all summer, but we changed the movies based on the time of day. Like we probably had to interview for a vampire at night, or closer to 10, and we had Jurassic Park in the morning, and then
people
we had
kept coming.
Forrest Gump during the
full.
day. It was always full.
Yeah, completely full.
And so the really cool thing, because we wanted the movie screen to be as large as possible, so we didn't graduate the floor. Remember, we had the deck chairs down front.
Lounge chairs.
Yeah, like you're on a deck of a boat, and then we had director's chairs that were specially made with padding.
Yeah.
That got taller and taller all the way to the back. And then we had the blue light with the people, that would get on stage.
I mean, did you imagine that back then? And
it was way before its time, because now, the major movie theaters have gone in and they do that.
Yeah.
But this was way before all that.
We had it was like lay down lounge chairs with your table next to you in the front of the theater.
And wait staff.
Just awesome.
And wait staff, yeah.
And we did reels every week, so that the gorilla went over the edge, and then the next week we would start it. Take one, scene one. So it was a lot of fun. It was definitely had a great gift shop, and it had artwork, and it was super cool. The whole building of it. So
what brought you that idea?
I love movies. Always have.
Of course, yeah.
It's
been
guys,
big part of us.
Part of our life, yeah. Big Star Trek fan, Nana was a Star Trek fan, one of the first, and so I got to see that as a kid. Isn't that wild? It doesn't seem like her thing, right? So yeah, it might have been Captain Kirk always losing his shirt or something,
She looked like one of those girls that would have been in
with the teased up hair and the blue eyeshadow and the boots, right? Yeah, she would have been in there, but I think she really liked Spock and Dr. McCoy and the chemistry that the three of them had. It was a great show.
Yeah, it was.
So we got to be a part of that. And before you became a hooligan, you were a Star Trek Trekie. And so...
Oh, damn, we're going to put that out there.
You still are.
Put that out there.
Not to the level of what she's about to tell people. No, I'm not saying that.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. You were young.
I was young.
Maybe 9 or 10.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you had the Trekie uniform that your mom got you?
Yep.
And I took you to a convention, didn't I?
Yes, she did.
Good mom.
Did you meet anybody that was in
I met Gene Roddenberry's wife, who was the nurse.
Oh, nice.
On Next Generation. Yeah, she signed. I met her and she signed. I still have it somewhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought I was stoked.
Top of the world.
Totally.
Oh my God.
Totally. Yeah.
Wore the I was a kid and I wore the uniform there with the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I asked him the other day, I said, if your son gets really, really into all this stuff, will you go in full superhero suit to the movies with him? And he was like, of course.
And Comic-Con, you got to do Comic-Con?
Whatever. I mean, at that point, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't need to be cool anymore. Those days are long gone. Anyways, so
here's one night when you were...
No. How did you come up with the idea?
Oh, I love movies.
That was it?
I met this...
Yeah, but it's different than just like, I love movies, I'm going to have a movie theater, than vice that so intricate of a deal.
It grew. I met someone who, the mother went to church with me and said, my daughter's coming to town and she's a videographer. And I think you guys would like each other because you're into movies and you're a writer.
Yeah.
And she had won like a major prize for covering Gorbachev.
Is this your former business partner?
Yes.
I didn't know any of that.
So she, she was an award winner videographer, and so we met, and it was like we both had that idea at the same time. So it was easy when you have somebody you're working with. You guys seriously work in a partnership, you and Ellie, and when you have that,
we work in a partnership.
Oh yeah.
so you have that extra energy of two people setting out to
Right.
accomplish something. So we had that, and we tried to go to a bank after bank, to present this idea.
Oh, I'm aware of that process.
With a business plan.
And they're like, get out of here.
And they said, get out of here. I tell you what, we went to a venture capitalist firm, and I had written one of the best business plans ever written, and left
I felt the same way with my business plan too.
I left it in a guy's office accidentally. And when I came back and remembered, oh my God, I left my business plan. When I came back, he had it all opened up on the floor and all his business plans, seeing how he could copy my business plan creatively.
But he wasn't going to give you any money.
No.
What a dirtbag.
And then I was like, you are so cold busted. He goes, I am. I really am. This is really well written. And I was seeing how I could punch mine up.
Oh my God.
So yeah, but that was a lot of fun for you guys. My God, you got to see so many movies, and you were
You learned how to
cooking
be
in
a
the kitchen.
projectionist.
You got to be
Did
a
you
projectionist.
find a bank, or did you get private funding?
I raised every dollar from venture capital, just from people investing.
Really?
A lot of presentations, a lot of behind the doors. Here's the dream. Here's the deal. Here's the projections. Here's possibilities.
How long were you in it?
Well, it took a year to build it, and then I was in the partnership for a little over a year, and then, things there was a divergence of
Events
and personal goals, and,
Personal.
so nothing
choices.
personal or anything like that, but it was a healthier thing for me to walk away
Yeah.
and not be involved. But I absolutely loved it.
Be careful.
More than anybody did. I don't recommend going into business someone you've only known for a day. That was a lesson learned, but it truly was the best of times and the worst of times.
I try to tell people all of that too. It's like, you get a business partner, it's more than a marriage.
Yeah, totally.
Like
So it was like a big
marriage.
divorce.
You can get divorced, and then it's like, it's pretty. I mean, it might be messy, but it's pretty clean. Like a business partner, that's complicated.
It was like a divorce, but also like building this house from the ground up that you love everything about it, and then walking away from that was just heartbreaking for me. And then I went to work immediately at the cable company because I had to support my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's really when I started getting in.
well, it's not because I left the movie theater,
No,
but
it was just
yeah,
timing.
it was just your timing and your association, and it was the age that you were, and
Need a
Right before that, I'm going to get her perspective on that. Right before we get into me being an idiot criminal, degenerate, I think I was behind a year from something. I don't remember exactly why, but I was in 6th grade in Surfside Middle School, and my teacher was Libby Wheeler. And right after that grade, I don't understand how you did this. She came from another town and picked me up, and she was at the time, or not that time, she was a teacher, but before that she was like Miss Vernon or whatever, beauty pageant
pretty girl.
queen.
Yeah.
She took me to Club La Vila at the beach, and we went and hung out and had lunch.
He tells a story all the time. He feels like she may have had a crush on him.
I think she saw you
Yes.
making a dark turn.
Yeah.
She liked you a lot, and she was trying to get you to turn the other direction.
Yeah.
And she had talks with you about that.
Yeah, I know. But I remember this one she was probably at the time one of the most gorgeous women I've ever laid eyes on. And she took and got in a little bitty bikini and took me out to the beach and completely had and Club La Vila for all places. And I'm just sitting there like 11 or 12 years old going, what is happening right now? I was hoping something would happen. Nothing happened.
No, that wasn't what was on her mind.
She was married to the
a real big, strong coach.
He was the head coach
guy.
of who I think he had won a bunch of things like at college,
bodybuilding things and stuff.
And he had like.
Oh, we've talked about this woman a lot, so I dug in and found her on Facebook.
She had
she's an old grandma now.
She had a lasting impression.
Definitely. But anyways, that was one.
Well, she probably put on that string bikini and thought, if a day with me in front of La Vila doesn't turn him in the right direction, I really don't know what would, other than dragging him into a church in holy water.
What did she tell you? She's like, hey, I want to take your son out?
Tell me, she and I had conversations. Don't think it was so simple.
Oh.
It's not like she just called and said, I want to take your son on a date. Okay. No, it was, we were having conversations about you getting in trouble. And it was probably me who reached out to her.
Yeah.
It's not like she would just out of the blue show up at the house or call me.
Well, Miss Wheeler, I appreciate you. If you ever find this, trust me, it was a lasting
We talk
impression.
about you a lot.
Yeah, I really appreciate that experience.
So I remember one particular night, you were always trying to check in with me. Now, I have to say this. I don't ever remember in all your getting in trouble having a bad relationship with you personally.
No.
I got frustrated and was trying to get you out of trouble, right? And,
I could very easily be a serious criminal gangster because to me, it was nothing. It wasn't like being a degenerate. It was just this thing that I did.
Yeah.
And then I kept talking. I was still nice to everybody.
Right.
So
you called me to let me know that you were at so-and-so's house and, you were out by Pinnacle Port and you were going to be staying. And yes, his parents were there. I mean, the whole
How
thing.
old was I, do you think? 12?
I'm guessing 12.
Yeah.
Maybe pushing 13, but I think you were 12.
No, definitely 12. Because I was cleaned up by the time I was like towards the end of 13, 14.
So, yeah, you were. Yeah. So,
I was clean.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, honey. All right. You hang up. I hang up. I get in my car and I drive down the road and I go to all the payphone stations and I'm looking at the phone numbers to see the one on
freaking hardcore.
To see the caller ID. And I got the caller ID off the phone and wrote it down. And I went to all the payphones.
There's no caller ID. You had to like
star 69.
You had to star 69.
Whatever I did. Yeah. And I got the number and I went to all the payphones. And when I found the one that was in the neighborhood of, I think his name was Jimmy, and the guy that hung out with Rachel and lived back up over in that place in those apartments. And I went over there and just busted in the door and didn't even knock. And they were like, everybody's freaking. I'm like, get your ass in
What were we
the
doing?
car. I'm sure you were just hanging out, smoking pot, whatever, but you were not where you said you were with the people. And I didn't want you around her and those people. And you were not where you said you were going to be. And so, I made you get in the car and leave. But I had to go searching for you.
Yeah, see, back then you could get away with some sketchy phone stuff. Oh yeah, I'm over here.
If I had kids now, I'd chip them.
I mean, that's what he has done. All of the kids are chipped with a cell phone.
Sort of.
No, take them to the vet, chip them. I'm going to be able to find these. Yeah. I want a locator. I want a locator. But it's a scary world now. It's scary enough back then. But, I was always worried about.
I wasn't worried about a thing.
Okay, so then here's a good one because this is a question he gets asked 1,000,000 times a year. Whenever he had this stuff happen and he got into trouble and he got that felony and he wanted to join the Marine Corps.
We're not there yet.
You're not there yet?
No, man. We got so much more to go.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not there yet. So I'm going to talk about one of the worst things that I've ever done. Worst to my mom.
Okay.
So all this stuff that she's talking about is going on. And then I don't think I've ever publicly talked about any of this. I think this is just like private conversations I tell these stories to. So we got busted for an operation because that girl Rachel was involved, and usually she's not involved. When we did these things, girls weren't really a part of it. But that one guy that was hooked up with her was like, oh, she'll just like look out or something, be a watch out. Well, the cops, I don't remember their name. Do you remember their names? No, the two detectives.
I think they're both dead.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang. They weren't very good people.
I know.
They did a lot of legal stuff.
I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, so they caught her on camera at a grocery store buying something. And then, so they pinged her first and then interrogated her. And of course she was like singing like a bird. And apparently everybody did except me. So.
Oh, I knew that too.
You did?
I knew that when the detectives hauled me in and they said, he's not talking. And I said, he's not going to talk. And they're like, well, he needs to talk. And I said, you don't understand. All those other people talking, they're the ones that would give away government secrets. The guy that's not talking is the one who won't give away government secrets when he's being tortured. Now, who would you rather have on your side? But they didn't like that line of reasoning.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know you had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
So anyways,
You can't bring somebody's kid in for questioning.
Well, that was how they broke the law. So they did.
Oh my God!
They brought everybody's kid in.
Yeah.
Without talking to the
and
parent?
they all saying, mm-hmm.
Yeah, without no parent involved, no
No,
lawyer.
they
My
arrested him. They
God.
took him away from school.
They came
And
into
I
the
didn't even
classroom.
know.
Yeah, they came into the classroom and put
I mean,
handcuffs.
that's illegal.
Yeah, they put handcuffs on me in the classroom and then walked me out of the school twice. First time, second time it stuck. First time I got released, I think, from the police. Second time I went, that's when I went to Juvie. So, anyways, so they did all that. I didn't talk. I got hit with. They threw the book at me.
Yep.
Completely. I got I think it's this. I guess the second time I went to Juvie was the same. I told you this, right?
Yeah.
The same day that Papa was going in for triple bypass surgery, heart surgery. Quadruple bypass surgery. So my mom's dad is going in for heart surgery, and her son is getting locked up in Juvie.
Oh shit!
What a little shit, man. I'm sorry.
It was a bad day.
It was a really freaking bad day, man.
That's when your
How did
dad
you-
needs to beat your ass. That's when you get your whoopings.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was timing. It was the way it went down.
How did you find out that I got arrested and was thrown in Juvie?
I left the operating room when he got out of recovery. When he was on step down, he had just gotten out of surgery, and then I was leaving the hospital pretty wiped out from that. And my beeper went off because that was back in beeper days.
Yeah.
And it was the police station calling,
Okay.
I think, to tell me that you were going to Juvie. Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was rough. And then to make it worse, while I'm in there, I'll never forget this.
Oh, yeah.
What a little shit I was,
Oh, my
man.
God.
I was such a little shit. So, visitation, I don't remember what day it was, but I got
It was the weekend because I couldn't get you out. I couldn't get a lawyer. I wouldn't get anything. And they said, nope, he's in for the weekend. Can't do anything till Monday or whatever.
So you came and visited me on the weekend?
Somehow I got in there to visit you. Yeah.
Okay. So she comes and visits me, and I don't know. I was stupid. I was like rubbing my arms, and she saw that I gotten a prison tat.
Over the weekend, you were there one day and you got a tattoo.
Oh, I was there longer than that. Yeah, I was there. I don't remember how long, but I was there longer than that. So it was there a couple days, and then I got a tattoo, and then she visited me. And anyway, so one of the guys, and the tattoo that I got was a gang tattoo.
Gang symbol.
The gang symbol for the gang that I was in.
Oh boy, the Irish shenanigans.
Stop, babe. Anyways, so stop name dropping.
Oh, sorry.
Try to get me in trouble.
They're gonna come for you,
They're gonna
babe. You
come
better
for-
just go
yeah.
ahead and represent.
Yeah.
She just said that because I'm drinking Guinness.
Yeah.
We were just talking about having friends
okay,
in
okay.
Ireland. Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so, and I remember all these different moms in there. And
Aw.
then she went off on me, not quietly, like publicly, went off like, you fucking stupid. I can't believe this, blah, 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 blah.
Damn.
And all the other moms were like, Get him.
Tell him.
Tell him. Beat his ass.
Just kind of pushed it over the line right there. Just pushed it over the line. I was crying that whole weekend. Couldn't wait to get to you. You know, still dealing with Papa, being in recovery.
Probably worried to death, thinking you're getting hurt.
And then I come in here and you got that, you know, so yeah.
That was crazy, man. People were trying to fight me, kill me. It was wild.
God.
And I remember a night that you snuck out the window.
Oh, shit. That's before I got all that, right? Or
It was right in the middle of all of it. It was before.
Yeah, before I got arrested.
But you left me a note. Mom, don't worry about me.
I left a note?
For me. Mom, don't worry about me. I'm going to see my friends, something.
When I jumped out the window?
Yeah.
See, I was always courteous.
Well, that's what I mean. Our relationship generally in the middle of all that was still good. I imagine a lot of moms would have just gone.
Get out of here. Go stay at your dad's.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And your dad offered to take you and assist you with jerking that earring out of your ear and helping you at that time.
I remember I've probably going to Juvie, going to county, all the places that I've been, the boot camp one. Like I had to do a stint in like the boot camp.
The boot camp thing, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is ironic because that didn't do anything.
Right.
It didn't do anything. You yelled at me and I was like, okay, this is not doing anything for me. But I snuck out and we did a thing, you know, an illegal activity. And then I came home and like a boss, babe, I just walked through the front door, snuck out the window. When I came home, I was like, I'm walking through the front door.
Whatevs.
What are you going to do?
I'm hard now.
Yeah. And who's sitting there? My father. Yeah. Who does not live in that town.
About 2 or 3 in the morning, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't he say he parked down the road so you wouldn't see his car?
Oh,
yeah.
he was slick,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
He knows the game. Where do you think I get some of this stuff from?
Yeah.
He knows the deal.
Yeah.
And he was sitting right there with my Kathy was there too, right?
Yes.
And I was like, oh shit. And that meme, you know, it's like, and that's the moment when he knew
he had fucked up.
He fucked up.
And I went to bed and closed the door and let you have a chat. I'm like, all right.
I legitimately thought he was going to physically beat the living shit out of me. Yeah.
But he did not.
No, he didn't. But I was like, yeah, he tried.
Yeah, he's like, he's going to kill me now.
I'm like, this is it. I'm dead. I'm dead. But I don't remember how we left it, but that was it. But after that, I think shortly after that is when I got thrown in. That's when everything kind of blew up, and I got thrown in jail and got charged with a.
You asked why we moved. You know, then I tried to move to put you in a different school.
Yeah, well, because I got kicked out.
Right.
And
expelled from Surfside.
Yeah, because obviously for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And then the next one wouldn't take me. So you had to go to a third county or third district over.
Right.
Yeah.
And talk them into letting you in.
And then I fucked that up too.
And I even got you on the wrestling team.
Yes, I tell them all the time. I got on the wrestling team, but I didn't have the grades, so I couldn't compete.
And you were great.
I was not great.
Okay,
I tried hard.
You were doing something?
I was doing
You were in school?
No, Mom, I was not good. I remember, so the coach was great. And this is the whole problem that I have with schools is they do this stuff off. I needed to be in that. I needed to be in wrestling, but I didn't have the grades to do it.
That's true.
And
they wouldn't let you compete.
And they wouldn't let me compete. The only time they would let me compete is if they had a heavyweight that didn't have somebody to compete against. How much do you think I weighed back then? 135?
Oh, not very much at all. Yeah.
So it was like me going up against Joaquin.
Yeah.
Which
that's kind of how that works sometimes.
And so anyways, and I remember if you look at that year's wrestling photo of the team, and then if you could take that photo and zoom out, you would see me sitting on the side outside of the thing. But anyways,
I tried really hard.
The guy was he was a science teacher, and I actually really liked him, the coach. But but the whole system that you have to, like,
I know.
those kids need that more so than they need to know whatever the shit that they're
molten rock is magma.
Right. That's my point. Is I needed that more so than anything else. Anyways, but then I got in trouble there too.
You made a friend.
I made a couple friends and made some bad decisions, and I was on probation at the time.
You were on probation.
And yeah, and then I got in trouble.
So when you wonder about my writing, and that it might have just sort of been on the back burner for a while there.
Years.
Yeah, a few years.
Thanks,
I definitely wasn't getting a lot of writing done, but my son's alive, and I never sent you to live anywhere else. I didn't send you and put you in some kind of strange Florida boot camp.
It clicked. After getting arrested. Honestly, I think it was having to go to county when Juvie was full. I don't know if you remember that. And I saw the adults, and I was like, oh.
Don't want to be here.
I was like, shit, this is not as cool as I thought it was.
Different. So different here.
Yeah.
A different vibe.
Yeah, different vibe. And I was like, okay.
These guys stink.
Now, honestly, you also started going to church, and who was the youth pastor?
Jack.
Who was amazing.
Well, you got me to do, because I had to do like a freaking, I don't know, a year or so of community service.
Yes.
And so wait, is this all leading up to the military thing?
No, this is still before. So
why'd you just community service for your penance kind of a thing?
Yeah, they charged me with, it was monetary and community service for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But she worked out a deal with this pastor that I would base like sweep floors and do whatever he needed me to do, and that would be my community service.
Yeah.
So every day after school, we would go all the way back to the beach, and then I would basically work at this church for however long. And that's when I met Vernon Lewis and Shannon.
Changed
and
your life.
All the girls, all the little church girls.
But
like,
you
like
started
yourself.
doing sound, and
That was not initially though.
That you didn't do that first.
No, they were. I was like,
you had to work your way up.
Yeah, I was sweeping the stairwell and
Jack was the man.
Yeah. And that's really where the positive influence, and they started hanging out with me. You did the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
You could call
No, literally, my dad was the guy that was like, yep, sign your kids up. I'll sign their paper. I'll give them something to do. And community service crew.
And all the church girls do the whole,
and we were like, come to youth group. Sit by me.
But you couldn't be around anybody cooler than Vernon.
No, not at all.
No.
And I owe a lot to that dude. Vernon Lewis, he unfortunately passed, but if you just Google Vernon Lewis's name, hopefully some good videos and music will come up.
Exceptional.
One of the most amazing human beings I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and I honestly probably owe my life to him. But he was actually the stuntman for Idris Elba. So when you see Idris Elba in the original Thor or Avengers, it's actually Vernon Lewis.
That's awesome.
It was just they CGI'd or replaced his face and his voice. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Exceptional in every way. So and then things turn.
Yeah.
You might have had a few bumps in the road, and
that's when I got real serious.
You're certainly headstrong, but when you got involved with the sound and the music, and that was such a love.
Yeah.
That was a way out.
I think that's really cool and super important. Like, we talk about it all the time, but that's what he does now is he works with on Mondays and Wednesdays. He takes, even though it's our time with our crew, like he takes the time and he goes up and he teaches jujitsu to teenagers. And there's quite a few kids there that are like, don't have a dad, don't have a ton of anger, ton of aggression, don't know where to put it. And it's cool because there's somebody got them to this jiu-jitsu gym, right? Who knows how they paid for it? Who knows how but Nick's there to like smash with them, roll around, talk to them, encourage them. And like, literally, I don't feel like people fully grasp like that little moment of doing something like that can change a kid forever.
Absolutely.
And the way he talks about Vernon, still all the time, this little tiny chunk of time that he spent and you getting him there and this whole thing happening, this connection, like, has changed his life forever. It's just nuts. It's crazy. It makes you think about, okay, we all need to be like connecting with young people in some way.
I really feel sorry. That's the wrong way to say it, but as you're talking about single moms and working, I worked a lot in sales and outside sales. So it gave me the freedom to go run to the school and get him and run and drop him off there and go back and make sale calls and keep working and keep working. But moms who are teachers or working in banks or whatever who didn't have the freedom or the support network to do that would not have been able to, to facilitate being able to do the things I was able to do with him a lot of times,
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready to tell the Marine Corps story? Because
No.
this is what everybody wants to know, babe. You know they are.
So, yeah, I guess we can skip to that. Everything else. That's just when honestly, it's kind of crazy because that's when I really got to, once I got straightened up, I feel like I don't know, who I was becoming or who I was going to become kicked in like almost immediately.
Well, some of those same principles were there. I mean, it's like
I started working hard.
it's like
at
using the
things.
force for good or for evil.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
My energy went into more of a positive way, and it
Yes.
was like I'm going to build something for my life.
Yeah.
And it really was it almost to where, and that's the reason why I didn't stay in school, it was too much time.
I got to go faster.
Yeah, it's too slow, and I'm going faster than this thing is going, so it doesn't work for me anymore. Sorry, your system doesn't work, so I'm out.
Right.
What did you think when I basically was like, I'm done with school at 10th grade, after 10th grade?
I think it was kind of like, okay.
I mean, I just went to got my GED.
I might have said, are you sure? You thought about this. You don't want to do this thing. And you were like,
Because I moved out shortly after that, right?
yeah, you moved out when you were 17. And, you thought I was going to pitch a fit.
You didn't.
I didn't.
No.
Well, I saw that coming.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, and you were mature enough that I knew it wasn't like you were going to be homeless in New York. You were, in town.
No, I had a plan.
You were in town. If you were sick or didn't answer the phone, which you were one time, I'm like, I think I better go out and check on him, And
You found me almost dead in that chair.
high fever, bad sick.
Aw.
Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, sure. She told me that story.
So, mom's got to go check.
I got the flu, and I was
When
done.
you get a high fever, you're gone.
You're
it's
gone.
too gone.
Yeah.
Too high.
So you brought me home.
It's too high for you to know.
I need to
I
call
got to get up. I got to
Which
call
I
somebody.
didn't have a phone.
No, I don't think you did at
No,
that
it was-
time.
no, I didn't have a phone.
Right. That's when cell phones were
We're not a
this
thing
big.
yet. We
Yeah.
had pagers if you were like a
Yeah.
drug dealer.
I didn't have I don't think I had a landline in my house.
Cell phones were this big. They
Yeah.
were like bag phones, literally, that people put in the car.
Did I have a
with them.
phone in that house?
I don't remember.
I don't think I did.
For whatever reason, I got the spidey sense, mommy sense going off like, oh, I think I better take a drive. So, yeah.
Yeah, you brought me home. Yeah, I remember.
Your brother and I were very sad, though. I mean, I was like okay with you moving out, but I remember your brother and I sitting there at the table, probably eating spaghetti, but there was just this. It was just horrible. We were so sad. We really were, man.
I do feel bad because at that time when I started, I left me and my brother were like, it's like an 80s movie, Sandlot, like
totally
Stand By Me situation.
So I always knew you guys had each other. That was part of the.
But then
I know they're together.
But once that kind of started happening, I really just left him.
You did.
I just
Well, you hit
abandoned him.
puberty before he did. You suddenly grew 3 or 4 inches over the summer one year, literally. And
I have the scars to prove it.
I know.
Yeah.
And grew super fast. Took you to the doctor for that too.
Did you really?
Yes. You sure he's okay?
He doesn't have elephantitis.
Yes.
Well, when I was born, didn't they say that I had, or when I was
Giant syndrome.
giant syndrome or something?
No, that was that doctor, and I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay.
He was just jealous. So, I don't think he was very large man, but it was really tough for your brother, and he went through his own trouble. When you went through that trouble because you left him, you were suddenly gone. So it was very
he
difficult.
went from basically having having a best friend to being alone for years.
And you being in trouble and me spending all that time trying to get you out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know, you were the focus.
And he was like, great, Nick again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nick's world. It's
Nick's
all Nick's world.
Sorry, Chris.
But, you know, you can make it up to him.
So anyways, that's kind of what happened. And I've talked about this before on other interviews, but I had the house on the beach. Everything was kind of going. I was making ridiculous money. Do you remember all the money?
Is that when you were working at Bay Point?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I was probably making more than you.
Now. I wish I had that money now.
I was making ridiculous amount of money. And I was working 2 jobs. So I was from
and you were 17 or?
17. 6, I think I started 16, 17. But that's one of the reasons why I didn't go back.
Legally making all that money.
Yeah, legally. Yeah. I wasn't going to, it was time to go back to school for my 11th grade. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I can't do this. Like, I'm going to lose like $8,000 or $4,000 a week or something like that. I'm like,
you were just making crazy money.
Yeah. So I was from 6 a.m. to 2, I was working as an audiovisual tech for the conference center. And then I would take a break from 2 to 2:30, eat lunch there at Bay Point. They had the greatest fries and club sandwiches. That's what I would have. Big shocker there, right, babe? And then from 2:30 to like 10, I was the bellman. And
you were hustling.
Oh man,
you were working it.
I had cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were working it.
Yeah. I was people's personal concierge service.
And that's where like one of the Shaws of somewhere came. I mean, that's where all the very, very, very wealthy people came.
Yeah.
And
I mean, your tip was like $100 bill.
Yeah.
At a time.
Yeah, because you had a lot of hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was making collectively, I was making like $4,000 a week as a 17-year-old.
I wonder why you still wanted to go in the military making that kind of money that you did.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Well, it's a good question you have.
It's a great question there you got there. I'll tell you. So I all that was going on, and you know, if anybody knows about Panama City, at least during that time, I looked around and I had like this vision of like 10, 20, 30 years later doing the same shit. And maybe my mother's spirit was in me, but I panicked. I absolutely panicked, and I was like, oh shit, this is going to be my life. This is it. I'm 17 and I've peaked. Well, it's ridiculous to say, but you know what I mean? Like,
I know. There's not a lot of opportunity there unless you're...
Now, would I have done well if I stayed? Sure, I would have leveled up and done well, and I would have been, you know,
maybe gotten your real estate license,
yeah, exactly.
or started a media company or something.
I would have been a Panama City beach tycoon.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. I was on track.
Yeah.
But I was like, there has to be more. And growing up, moving all over the United States and doing what we did, I panicked. And I was like, this can't be it for me, you know. And before Shannon and I broke up, I'm like, we were together and we were talking about being more serious, and I was like, now what? I'm just gonna
ratchet up the panic.
Yeah, I'm just gonna I'm gonna be a Panama City person now and just live here, and married kids and make money, and this is my life. And so I call it, I hit the nuclear option. I just blew it all up. You know, quit the jobs, moved out of my house, moved in with my grandmother. And so anyways, before I did all that, I went to the recruiter and said, hey, I'm going to join the military. That was my option. I was like, well, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go live a life of adventure. I'm going to go travel and see the world and all the stuff that they, you know, will pay you to travel. It's a life of adventure, all the stuff they sell you on. And, but then they told me no. The recruiter's like, no, I'm not. You're a felon. You're a dropout. You're a druggie. You were in a gang. You have a whole long rap sheet. There's a million things that you put me on medicine at one point.
I was trying, but you know what?
No, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that was another roadblock.
It was a kind of Ritalin.
Well, Butrin or something like that.
Which is a kind of...
Which made me like super violent. And
I remember the moment in the car, and you only took them for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you putting your hands on the dash of the car and going, Mom, whatever this is just makes me really angry. And I'm like, okay, that's how we tried that.
I feel it in my hands.
Yeah. So
I didn't go, well, let's just try it for a couple weeks, son.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
So,
all right, done.
but because of that, that was another roadblock, because anytime you get on any sort of, I guess at the time, I don't know if it's still an ADHD medication.
I
they
had
have
to go tell. I remember going to tell him it was me. It was the wrong medicine. It was my fault.
Yeah. So, which now is crazy. They push that stuff on kids like it's
I
like
know.
Tic Tacs.
I know.
Kids like, man, I have a lot of energy. And they're like, ADHD.
Medicate that kid.
He's too hyper.
Anyways,
Occasionally, there are children who need it.
I don't believe that. I personally, that's my opinion,
Okay.
Mom.
Okay.
My opinion.
Okay.
I think it could be fixed.
Diet and exercise
Diet and
and-
exercise and focused and things like that.
Counseling.
Yeah.
Meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that was all roadblocks. So they told me no, and they told me all the reasons why. And anyways, then that became my mission. I was like, oh yeah, motherfucker, watch this shit. And then two years later, but yeah, that's why I nuked
But
everything.
you made sacrifices.
I
to do that.
sacrificed my entire life, and I moved in with my grandmother.
I want to hear from her
Hold
first perspective too.
on, I gave up my. Hold on, I moved in with my grandmother. I gave up those jobs. I gave up my house, and then ended up going back to the movie theater as a projectionist.
Not that movie theater.
Not
different movie
a different
theater.
one, which is not there either.
No, read it. The hurricane took it out.
Michael took it out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Regency. I was the head projectionist for their make it.
And it was so easy.
I think it was so easy, but I was making like, I want to say $475 an hour. So I went to making $4,000 a week to $475 an hour. I remember getting my first check and was like, what the hell is the point?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do with this?
What am I supposed to do with this? You
It's a tip for showing up.
Anyways, but and then ended up going to college and everything, or for a semester to do some things. But yeah, anyways, your point of view.
And what'd you have to do to get?
You ask her the
'cause-
questions.
Okay, well, I want to know, one, your point of view of how this all went down, and then two, because I do know that you had to have some input with the recruiter, and he had some homework for you to get Nick to do and all of this. Because
Yeah.
Nick tells the story. He says, my mom talked to the guy, and they worked it out. So I want to know what that was.
I talked to the guy. Yeah. Talked to a lot of guys. He had a nice recruiter. We talked a lot. I guess we just had to keep going back and forth. I'm going, now he's done this. He's really serious. Now he's done this. Now he's doing this. So, you know, I don't remember. It's not like we had a secret deal on the side or anything.
Checklist. He just gave you a checklist.
I almost remember his name, but I remember being in the office. I remember you and I going to see him.
Herrera.
Yep. I remember you and I going to see him together, like frequently.
Do you remember Michael Klein?
Who was that?
So you had Herrera was the big muscled Hispanic guy, and then there was a smaller white guy who with a little funny mustache. He's actually in the area. I need to bring him on the podcast. That would be an interesting podcast.
He's a white guy?
Yeah, Michael Klein. It was two recruiters. I think it was Derek Herrera, and then
I
Michael
thought your
Klein.
recruiter was a black man.
That's Herrera. He was Hispanic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think maybe Dominican.
Yeah, that's there. Most Dominicans are Hispanic. They are darker. They're a little bit.
But yeah. No, he was very nice. He's
Very
the only
nice.
one I remember, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was just a process. You know, I knew he had his mind made up. And I remember one time when you had a psych test that you had to take and retake.
Yeah.
And I remember taking that trip with you and you and I stopping and having lunch on the way back and talking. And that being a
It was the
serious...
stupidest psych test ever.
I know. It was a serious conversation. You and I had.
I was so upset.
Yeah.
He was trying to judge my mental stability.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he told me was, what is it, count back by sevens.
I can't do that.
Start at 100 and count back by set. And I failed. And this is what he was trying to judge my mental stability off of. I was furious.
What the heck?
Anyways.
Well, you got over that hurdle.
Yeah. But my mom, I had to get 100 letters of recommendation. I mean, I had a stack.
How did you do this?
How did I do it?
How did you go
She
get
helped me.
100? Yes, I mean, how did you go and get 100 letters for your son?
every person that I'd ever worked with from the time that I was in trouble, after in trouble to,
I don't know.
she like
Knocking on doors, cold calling.
she wrote her letter, very good letter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you save it?
Yeah, I've got them all.
Oh,
It's
cool.
it's on an envelope at the house.
Oh.
My whole like entry thing, all my waivers and everything.
Isn't that
Yeah.
great? Okay, so that's like the perspective of what she remembers. Okay, but this is, you're the mom. 9/11 hadn't kicked off yet, so you're totally amped for him getting into the military at this time
Not totally am. Just going along with this plan.
because he's serious.
Yeah.
For the first time,
My dad said that it was hard and I wouldn't make it.
and then you were like,
I was like, okay.
I always told you you'd make it. But I remember him being in boot camp and me going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because he had asthma so bad when he was a little kid. And I'm like, oh no, they're going to put him in that room where he has to breathe stuff. Oh no, they're going to make him run really hard. Oh no. You know, so I tried to be really strong in front of him. And then I was just such a, you know, that's where the daisy part of mom, you know, oh mom. So my boys are my weakness. That's
and
for
so
sure.
so then when did Chris say, hey, I want to join the military as well?
It was years later.
That was while his brother was deployed. And I was yelling, put the recruiter on the phone. And he said, I don't have to, Mom. He can hear you. Everything I was saying.
I was actually in Iraq in
Yes.
combat at the
So
time.
we'd already 9/11 had already happened, and
yeah.
Chris was
Oh,
like, I
sure.
want to go too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he was gone. He was already gone. He joined while his brother was
Yeah.
deployed.
So this leads me to my next question, because it kind of leads into your big national best-selling book. What did you do?
See how she did that?
What did you do?
That was a smart pivot.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what she does.
I wrote a book that I never
We're gonna
planned
sell
on.
some fucking books here,
I
ladies and
never
gentlemen.
planned on writing this kind of book. I wrote novels, and I was determined because you were home.
Mm-hmm.
You had come home from being deployed. But
Was this your first deployment, or do you remember which?
No.
No,
When
this
she wrote
wasn't
the
his first.
No. When
No.
she wrote this book, it was when we were both deployed
At the same time.
simultaneously.
Okay.
That's the problem.
So
Chris was in Iraq.
He was
I
home,
was in
and
Afghanistan.
I'm like, thank God he made it home. He made it home. He made it home. It was a miserable year for me. I quit living. I just quit breathing. I remember going to see a movie with Chris, and it was Stranger Than Fiction. And the movie's about to start. You know how much I love movies. It goes dark. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, what if my son's under fire and I'm in a movie theater? What if he needs me and I'm right here? Okay.
Yeah. Somebody call my mom. This is what I need.
But, you know, what if he's calling my name right now and I'm watching a movie? This is just fucking great, you know? So it was just a year that I didn't live. He comes home and I'm like, oh, thank God he's home. Oh, wait, you know, now his brother has joined and gone through boot camp and graduated. Oh, now they're deploying Nick again. Oh, now they're deploying Chris. Oh, now they're deploying them both the first week of the year. And I started saying, they can't do that. You're my only children, my only two sons.
She went back to World War II. She's
I
like,
said-
I don't think
I
this is legal.
I
The
said,
draft.
I
Yeah.
said, I saw Saving Private Ryan. They can't do this. And I'm like, Mom, it's just a movie. I'm like,
What's
no,
this,
it's Tom
volunteer
Hanks.
service?
And it's like, you know, no, they can't do this. And then I became obsessed with the family getting together and being able to see you guys together and see you alive for perhaps the last time, or alive together for the last time. So I made you those really wonderful little books that I focused on making. And
What is this books? I don't know about it.
The picture books.
picture books,
Oh.
photo
You've
books.
seen them. They're at the
Oh,
house.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So one for each of them, all their little memories and
Yeah.
things and trouble they got into. And we go to this little ski resort in the Blue Mountains, which is really unusual for a family who never had a lot of money. We never went on a ski vacation. This wasn't part of our life, but by God, we were at this little tiny, you know, probably little place in the Blue Ridge. But family was coming from everywhere, from
The
North
house
Carolina,
wasn't.
Florida. No, a beautiful place, you know, fireplace and all that. So as I was packing for this trip, I was in the kitchen and I had this idea. It was like New Year's resolution, say a prayer for a stranger every day. And I thought, that's a really good idea. Somebody should do that. I'm not doing it because I'm not praying for anybody but my boys to come home alive. But we end up going to this Blue Ridge little place, and they decided, because I ski like Lucy Ricardo and my cousin Deb and I, we shut down Taos Mountain.
I remember.
We shut them down because
they had to get them.
We crashed jumping off the ski resort, and then all the people piled on us, and they had to shut the lift down, and the emergency people came and made us go down and take our skis off. So they made me sit down and just be Checkpoint Charlie, and they would come by and say, we're having a great time. Now we're going to go snowboarding. Now we're skiing. Now we're doing this and that. Finally, someone comes to relieve me to go to the restroom. I go to the restroom, and there's this little boy with blue shoes in the stall next to me, and I hear this crack like his head just got hit up against the stall, and he says, that's why I don't like you. And the woman says, I don't care. I don't like you either. And another woman in the bathroom goes, is there a problem in there, ma'am? And she goes, yeah, there's a problem. He's the problem. He's the cause of everything bad. And this kid's like 3 years old, just his little blue shoes. And I'm like, I'm getting up and open the door. I'm like, I'm taking that kid. I don't care.
I'm going to kill this bitch.
You're not walking out with this kid. I go out. They're gone. They're nowhere. Not washing hands, nowhere. I go running through the entire place looking for those blue shoes. I went to where you rent skis. I went to the snack bar. I went everywhere. I never saw them. And that night I was crying, and it was almost midnight, and we were watching the ball fall. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that kid's out there somewhere in trouble, and there's nothing I can do for him. And someone said, oh, it seems like you found your stranger for the day. And I'm like, I'm not even sure I'm doing that. And it's not even the first of the year. And right then I heard 10, 9, 8 behind me. And I really just said, all right, God, you've got me for 1 year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say a prayer for a stranger every day in a very Episcopal way, not talking to anybody. I never planned to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Not like I want to go up and lay hands on you, but just I'm going to. I read this book, and I read it when I was really just getting to know him, and you simultaneously. But the biggest thing to me that was just so freaking cool, because it's the one thing I feel like everybody needs to think about. It's like, yes, we've all got shit we're going through, right? We all do. But it's like you took this outside third window, third wall to life for a little bit to say, okay, my kids are obviously in the worst way. Mm-hmm. And if I think about them, I'll lose it, right? Constantly.
That wasn't my idea. I was being faithful to what I felt like God was calling me to do. And I'm very, yes, I drink, I'm Episcopalian. I cuss like a sailor, so I'm not churchified, even though I'm a strong believer. And I never planned to talk to anybody, but what got me was Granny Nanny was dog sitting, and she wanted to ride the bus home and sit behind the driver, and I begged her, let me just fly, she wouldn't sit behind just my best friend, anyway, so I put her behind the driver and literally was crying, and don't let her off the bus. Don't lose her. She smokes all the time. Don't lose her. Don't leave her in the bathroom. Don't let her talk to anybody weird. Don't let them sit next to her. Literally crying. And I'm like, I am never going to do that again. I'm never letting her ride the bus again. Of course, she was fine. But I had seen this lady in the bus station. And I felt like I had to go back in and tell her, look, I do this thing. I pray for a stranger every day. And today you're my person. I just felt like I had to tell her. It's like, this is just crazy. So I go back in there and I'm trying to figure out how to walk up to her. And I finally go, ma'am, do you mind if I ask your name? And she told me. And then I said, look, I do this thing every day where I pray for a stranger every day, and I just want to let you know you're my person, and that's it. I'm going to say a prayer for you tonight, and that's it. I'm backing off, doing this kind of ninja hit. And she goes, honey, do you know I was just praying for other people this morning, and I stopped and asked God, is there anybody in the whole world praying for me? And I thought that was the biggest divine setup that I had ever heard of in my life. And I just said, it looks like I am. So I started going up to people doing exactly that, and they would always say to me, funny you should choose me today because, or you have no idea how much I needed to hear that. Ella, remember when Ella was wearing shoes, and I always wanted her to get tennis shoes that tied, and she just wore like flip-flop shoes. So I was determined I was going to get her a new pair of shoes and took her shoe shopping. And then we went to a really nice little upscale taco place where you go through and you order your food, and then they bring. So the girl's 18-year-old, really young, beautiful girl, you know, oh, I recommend this. And no. And I said, oh, I do this thing where I pray for a stranger every day, and today you're my person. She started choking, and she started crying, and she couldn't talk. And then the manager's going, what did that woman say to you? And then she got so upset, I started crying. And Ella, you know how Ella is, and she goes, is that your person for today? And I'm like, yeah, rolling her eyes, very unmoved, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So, but the girl came out after she had to get pulled off the line, and she came out after she was able to catch her breath and said, you just don't know how much that meant to me.
That's awesome.
So it forced me, I mean, I began to realize all these human beings, all these stories, all this stuff going on, and it saved me. I mean, because otherwise I would have just drowned in worrying about these guys, you know? So,
that book, that became the book, Praying for Strangers by River Jordan,
Yep.
which became a national best-selling
I did.
book
Title.
Yeah,
Title.
good
Yeah.
book.
You can get it on
Title.
Amazon too still,
Yeah,
right?
where's the best place to get it? Amazon?
Or your local bookstore.
Anywhere.
Anywhere? Yeah,
And,
go buy it.
yeah.
That's my mom's book.
That's one
She-
of her books.
one of her.
She's got lots of
got a
great
lot.
books.
Where are we at?
Well, I just think that's incredible because she made it through both of you being deployed at the same time. All of everything going on with, you know, our war on terror and everything with both kids. And then she did all that for like at least a year. You did that?
I actually went on to do it for 3 years, telling people,
Wow.
you know, because at the end of the year I was like, I have checked that box. I'm out of here. And then the beginning of the year I was like, oh. But it reminds me that I could still be doing that, even if I'm not telling people that it does bring you out of the headlines and the, you know, stuff that obviously weighs us down and gets us to focus on our own problems. It's a wonderful way to pull you into a better place. But that's what got me out of it. And one day I felt somebody staring at me. You know how you know when people are staring at you, and you're looking around, and it's like somebody's looking at me. And I looked over and I saw this small man with red hair and a red beard. Okay? He looked like something out of Lord of the Rings. I swear. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to go tell him he's my person for today. And he had this piece of paper and like this pencil. Nothing to drink, nothing to eat. He's sitting at this table. And he's just looking at me. And I go over and tell him, you know, look, I do this thing. And I said, you know, I started doing this when my sons were deployed, and they're both deployed. And he's got this light in his eyes, and he's taking the, and then he calls me back. You know, I start to walk away, and he goes, hey, just want you to know, your sons are coming home. They're going to be okay. And it was like, I expected to turn around and him be like, poof, disappear. Like it's an angel. And it just was like, gave me chills all over. And I'm like, okay, I believe you, man. I'm going to take it. So
Leprechauns, man.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? We're on an Irish kick today.
Well, we're both here.
Yeah.
We both made it.
You did.
Very thankful for that.
Yes. Because a lot of good people didn't, and I'm aware of that.
Well, that's why we
But
get
I'm
to.
very thankful.
Well, that's why I'm going to live every day like extra
Extra.
for everybody else. One of the biggest things we talked about that on a podcast, a couple podcasts ago, right? About you know, what do those people want you to do? Like you know, sit there and sulk, or do you want to live, make it worth it, make it all worth it, live extra. So,
Well, what do you have going on now?
yeah. What's the next book?
What's the next project? I know you did Confessions of
launched
a
one.
Christian Mystic.
No, what's the most recent
Oh.
one?
Oh, the most recent is Sugar Baby and Other Stories, which is a collection of short stories.
On Amazon, right?
Definitely on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all those other places and local
Excellent.
bookstores. But it's a great collection. Excellent writing. It's really one of the best things that I've ever done. And a publisher read the book, and so they've asked me to develop a full-length novel from one of the stories called A Muddy Grace that involves a flood and, you know, kind of some stuff. So
Well,
that's due in August. So that's my next thing.
Awesome.
And those are your favorite, right? When she writes the fiction stories.
Personally,
the South.
Personally, those are my favorite. And there's a book. I don't think you've published it. That's my.
The Deep Down Dirty South.
That's what I want.
I know.
It's stories of her childhood and like
your childhood.
It's like little things that we look back on and stuff like that.
And,
it's just funny.
Yeah,
they're all funny.
Aunt Kate's possessed doll.
Yes.
And Chris positioning that doll.
Yeah.
It's Susie walks a lot. She had one eye open and one eye closed.
It's creepy as hell.
It was so creepy, so possessed. Everybody in the family knew that.
And
dog.
then you lay in bed. It's right there. Looking at you. Well, kind of looking at you like this.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So his brother, being the prankster and jokester he is, I was asleep and I would literally take that doll, trying not to touch it, and go take it to another room and make it face the corner when I slept there at her house in Georgia. She got upset. Let me tell you how she really got upset. Chris snuck up. Did you not? You don't remember this? Chris snuck up and put her leaning over me right up against me.
God.
So that when I opened my eyes,
right there.
she was right there leaning. I tore her head off and broke her arm, tore her arm off her body. And he cracked up, and Aunt Kate was very, very upset.
Oh, I bet he was dying.
She said she was dying laughing, and she was so angry. She said she was a collector's item.
Oh, my God.
She's done now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I finally put her to rest.
So you can't find that book. There's nowhere to buy that.
No, for you, I had determined to put that book out, this year. So I am going to focus on that when I get this novel taken care of.
Even if we just can get it on Amazon for yourself, like.
Yeah, I think my thing is I think that from a monetary standpoint, I think that if she self-publishes that book, it would do very well for her. It's my opinion.
I tell you what, I even made certain in my contract, because they have first right of refusal for my next book. But I said, no, not on this one, you don't.
This is mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I had planned to do that this year. And of all the people who have read it, because I didn't even self-publish. I printed it.
You printed it.
For a book club, a very large book club in Texas, who had bought all my books over the years, and I was going to the convention and didn't have anything. So I thought, well, I'll just put these stories together and I'll print it. Every person who ever has it refuses to loan it to anyone. Right. It is their favorite book.
You're not giving it to anybody.
They won't give it to anybody. They won't loan it to anybody. They won't even let it out of their house. So it's like,
we'll have to push it again.
Yeah, I have to get back in there and do it.
Well, babe, you got anything else?
No. That's all I've got.
So what do you have going on now? How do people find you and support you?
They support me by buying my books, or we can work out other ways. You can donate to me or buy me a beer, but I'm good for a story. It's riverjordanink.com.
Okay.
So just like ink on the page, and that's my website, and so that's the fastest way to find me.
And then follow you on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, where I do a lot of talk, following series that I love and things like that, communicating people about TV a lot and movies.
Are you still teaching?
I teach when I have the opportunity to teach.
But online, are you still doing the writers' classes?
I need to do it again, is what I'm saying. I do so every so many months, then I kick off a writing class, but people can find that on the website as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. That's what I was like.
I'll always put, new classes are coming, I'll put it on there.
All right.
Which I really enjoy doing. Yeah, it's great.
Well, Mom, thanks for coming to town.
Hey, thanks.
We're going to
watch movies.
We're going to watch movies.
So many movies. We've got one to watch tonight.
We actually have to watch The Contractor.
You know what else is on tonight?
Picard.
Yes.
I got you.
So excited.
I waited.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hey, listen, go follow my mom. Go buy her books. I appreciate that. And other than that, this is a fun one for me. And next time I need to bring her on again. We'll talk more stories of my childhood. There's a lot more. There's a lot more left on the table. All right, guys. I will see you. Hey, you know what? Go follow her. Screenshot this. Share it if you find something funny or entertaining or worthwhile. Screenshot it. Share it on social media. Tag both of us. We'll both share it. Let's get this message out of there. And other than that, there's no the deal. Never quit. Never surrender. We always keep moving forward. We'll see you guys in the next episode.